What is up, guys? Welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit, and today we are going to be talking about not releases, but signings. So we have a bunch of signings that happened in the last couple of days since we last talked. Quite a few teams have made some signings. Some of the big names are going to different places, like obviously they were released and things like that. First, I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. If you're returning, thank you very much for all of your support. Greatly appreciated. If you're new, I do Overwatch League content a couple times a week, generally speaking. Once the roster thing slows down, I'll probably cut it back a little bit until we start getting some more news about, what it's going to be a crazy offseason with the new game and all that stuff. Potentially tournaments before the season, what we're hearing about new heroes and all that stuff. We'll get into all that when it happens. But thank you for joining. Greatly appreciate it, as I said. All right, let's dive into it. So we're going to start. We're just going to go down the list. We got a lot of signings that happened in the last few days. So let's get at it, shall we? Big signings, some guys just moving around, different teams. All of them are pretty big, really, if you think about it, because a lot of these teams dropped their whole roster. So just seeing the reveals and getting past the leaks and all that stuff and seeing what the reality is kind of cool. And just theory crafting, because you don't know what's going to happen because of the new game and all that. But let's get on with it. All right, Boston. They have signed Crimzo. He goes from Houston to Boston. I kind of thought he might join the Mayhem, but we'll get to them in a minute, because today, which is Friday, the 22nd, there were a bunch of things that happened overnight from last night to today. It will make some of these signings make sense from the leaks and, just the hearsay and all that. And just, kind of in your head what your theory crap, Crimzo. If Mayhem are going full Western or they're doing a mixed roster, which it seems as though they're doing a mixed roster because they said so, he would be a good fit. Things like that. But no, he joins Boston. They go with Crimzo because they did get rid of Myeongbong. Who knows if he wanted to get released or whatever happened. But so right now, Boston consists of Valentine, Punk, Faith, and Crimzo. Not terrible. I like Crimzo. I thought he was really good on Houston, and, it's a good signing. So good for him. Goes to Boston. Boston seems like they want to make some moves and do some things this year. They got a taste of winning again, and, I think Crimzo's going to be a good fit there. I really do. It'll be good to see. All right, next up, Dallas makes a couple of moves. So Edison got released from Atlanta, signs with Dallas. Hit scan player. Dallas desperately needed one. Fantastic. They also signed Chiyo. I'm hoping I pronounce it right. From T1. We'll see how that goes. Contenders main support. So he's going to take the place of Jexay. I think Dallas is pretty well locked in right now. They have their group that they're going to start with. I think there's going to be a lot larger rosters going in. I talked about it a little bit, but if you look at it, new game, don't know what's going to happen. You're going to sign guys that you are assuming are going to be good, but I think you're going to want to have some backups, possibly an academy team to get guys going, playing the game that you can farm and bring up or trade or whatever you need to do. But yeah, I think Dallas, it's a fantastic move for Dallas. Edison's a great hit scan player. It's something that they needed. Gives them an option if they don't want Sparkle to play Tracer. He could play Tracer. He could do all the other hit scan things. Good move for them. Is it as good as Eggsy was to start last year? Probably not, but you know what? Edison's really good. I thought he was good when he got a chance to play on Atlanta. He looked really good, but they had Kai. They're sticking with him. They're going full Western, so, hey, it works out for Dallas. So I'd say they're set. 3 DPS players. They got, of course, Hanbin, Fearless, Fielder, Sparkle, and Doha, and then they add Edison and Chiyo. I think that's a fantastic start. I don't know much about Chiyo, to be brutally honest. From what I've heard, he's been a fantastic main support, and it's one of those positions I don't watch. I know who Proper is because he's playing DPS. He pops the fuck off. You know who that dude is. Things like that. I mean, he's in the rumor mill right now, Proper. But let's talk about Florida. Okay, so the Mayhem have signed Majed. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. I haven't heard anyone say it audibly, and I'm not big on European contenders, but he's been around the scene for a little bit of time. From what I hear, great flex support, so good move on them. Albert, actually, for the Mayhem, described the process a little bit, said he was playing on 180 ping and was just popping the fuck off. I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, he's their guy. I'm interested to see, what else they do. It seems like they're going and farming some younger talent. They got Gunba on as head coach, which is also a good move. Yeah, he was in Valorant, but remember, guys, he was at the start of Overwatch, built a good team with Boston, started Valorant, had a good team there, and he's back in. So Boston and the Valiant as well, he coached on too. Or he wasn't a head coach, but, he has an eye for talent and young talent at that. And when starting out a game, you got a guy like that around. Picked him up as coach. He's grabbing some of these dudes. So we got Majed. I don't know, like I said, don't know a ton about the dude. He is on their roster as their flex support. Also, we're going to just keep moving along. And I guess this just came in from Dallas. We're going to go back to Dallas for a second. They signed... I have no idea how to pronounce this dude's name. Another DPS, Gurio, from Team Diamond. So another DPS, and he's also another hit scan. So now they have Edison and Gurio. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering his name for hit scan. So they added another. Like I said, maybe these teams are going to go a little bit more. But they signed him. They have plenty of DPS players to go around. They're going the shock route from a couple years ago. But you know what? You don't know who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. So why not? If you got the cash to do it, do it. And they are. So another guy for Dallas. Back to Florida. So we have one piece of the puzzle. One interesting thing, though, if you look at this, I don't know what's going to happen, but Yaki welcomed Majed to the team. So I don't know if that's saying that Yaki's staying or what, or he's, trying not to leak anything. But it seems like the team right now is just Yaki and Majed. Okay, so if they keep Yaki and they have this guy from Contenders who's really, really good from all accounts, it looks like a good start for the Mayhem. So let's move on to Guangzhou. They have signed Develop. Okay, guy that didn't get a chance in Shanghai because who are you going to sit? You're going to sit Lip? You're going to sit Flena? I mean, Diem didn't even play on that team when he was on there, for crying out loud. So a good move for them, I think. A guy that they can work with, young, get him involved, DPS player. So now you have Choi Se-won, Develop, and Eileen for your DPS rotation. I think that looks pretty good. You have Rio and Krong. Rio, I don't know, but he's not the worst tank, and you don't know what's going to happen. So if he's already signed, just keep him. I mean, why not? See what he can do. I've seen worse tanks in the league for sure. Right now, they're looking pretty good. Okay, let's jump to Houston. Houston has signed Ir1s today, and they also made a trade with the Reign for Pelican. So they grabbed a couple of guys from that Reign roster that got to the finals, and two of the really good ones, in my opinion. I think he's an upgrade over Crimzo. Ir1s played really well for them. Great flex support. Pelican, we all know what Pelican did. He took that team from the gatekeeper to the upper echelons of the league. He is going to do a lot of good things with this team. Him and Dante as a DPS line looks great. And you still have Piggy, who's pretty versatile, I think. I think when we get into Overwatch 2, we'll see what this guy can do. But, good off tank. Keep him on the team. Like, I've been saying this. Keep the guy on the team. He can play a good diva. We'll see what he does in Overwatch 2. His Sigma's not bad. Actually, his Sigma's pretty top-notch, actually. Now that I think about it. I have to remember some of the stuff because to go back in the Wayback Machine. But what I'm saying is he's a good player as well. But Pelican, you got a top-notch Rookie of the Year, the Rookie of the Year, DPS player who's going to cover a lot of things. Same thing with Dante, huge hero pool. You got guys here that are going to cover all your heroes. And potentially, if Jake signs, who knows what Jake's going to do. He could just be coaching. He could be playing. I haven't seen any rumors or anything about him. But these two guys are a big key to the puzzle, and you add Piggy in there. That's a good trio to start with. Houston making moves. You got Junkbuck coaching by himself now. We'll see what happens. I like it. I like what they're doing. They're serious about this time. But they were serious last year, too. Don't get me wrong. I like that. Also, we have big sign from the Gladiators. Now, we all talked about Moth leaving, and, they're probably going to keep Skewed and play him. But they've signed Funny Astro away from the Shock. I'm sorry, not from the Shock. Damn it, I do that with him and FD God all the time. They signed Funny Astro from Philadelphia, breaking up that insane back line of Alarm and Funny Astro. Now you have Funny Astro, Skewed, and Shu. Then you also have Kevster. This team looks phenomenal as well. A great pickup. He's necessary for the Lucio. Skewed's Lucio, I didn't really get a chance. I didn't really see too much of it, but what I saw wasn't the greatest. But Funny Astro's, obviously, we know how his is. And he could play other things too. But you have Skewed locked in on that Brigida. Fantastic there. You got Shu doing the flex support. Good move by Los Angeles on that one. I like it a lot. Backline of Funny Astro and Shu, or even Skewed Shu. But Funny Astro Shu is going to be filthy. Absolutely filthy. And Kevster, of course, coming back is going to be great for them. Let's talk about the Seoul Dynasty. Seoul, I'm going to say this right now. Seoul's going big, man. They are going hard. They want to win. I think they saw what happened last year. They tried to run it back, I guess. One of the big problems was main tank, really. And, their support line had issues as well. And this is what they went and did. They went and got Smurf from the Shock. He is one of the best tanks of all time in Overwatch. One. They go and sign him, and then they also get the legend, Jonak. So now you have, on this team, which is looking absolutely disgusting right now, and we haven't even gotten off tank. They'll look at who's going to play that or whatever. Obviously, they have a decent amount of money because they have two of the great, potentially 3 Hall of Famers, really, if you look at it right now, in Prophet, Smurf, and Jonak on this team. Shaking this down, you have Smurf playing tank. He's very versatile. He can play a lot of different stuff. We saw that with the Shock. They ran super a lot on the Reinhardt, but who knows what's going to be meta or whatever when we get to Overwatch 2. Great place to start is sign someone of Smurf's caliber. High-level Winston, high-level Orisa. Fantastic on the main tank role just in general. And then you add Jonak in. Now, creative, I think he was decent enough. He popped the fuck off occasionally. Their biggest problem was Animo and some of the other things. So he wasn't consistent enough for me, creative. And I'm going to throw that out there. Now, what Jonak is going to add, especially in Overwatch 2, if you think about it, there's less healing that needs to be done, and you need to make up some of that damage. What is he? He is the king of the lethal supports. He is the originator of the Fragyata. So you got him for Zenyatta, and his Ana's absolutely disgusting. You got him for those two things. His BAP is okay. You got Creative, who's, in my opinion, is a better BAP than him. So you got all of these bases covered by 2 really, really good flex supports. Well, and there's going to be times where you're probably going to see Ana Zen or BAP Zen, things like that. Because you're going to need a little bit more damage and a little bit more of those kind of things coming out. So why not sign Jonak? I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say Creative is better, Jonak's washed up. Look, New York's been a mess for the last 2 years. I feel a change of scenery, and it's much like Prophet, if you think about it, really. Gesture to a little bit of an extent. Mostly it was that Roadhog meta that made him pop the fuck off. But Prophet got on this team and got back to Prophet. We had the GOATS year. He was playing Zarya and Brig and things like that. You don't want him doing that necessarily. Who knows? That could be a thing coming up. You could see some of these DPS guys flex back into that role because, some of them have experience doing it. But what I'm getting at is Jonak needed a change of scenery. This is the place. He's bros with Prophet. So you got him, Smurf, Fitz, and Creative. You're looking at some top dog stuff right there. Seoul is for sure going to be in the conversation when we get to that point. Depending on who they sign an off tank and all that, who knows what they're going to do. Who knows? Maybe they make a bid for one of the guys from a different team. They could sign somebody like Gargoyle. Think about that. Gargoyle on that team, he was great with the Mayhem. You put Gargoyle in there with Smurf and Fitz and Prophet and either Jonak or Creative. You got a force. Well, obviously, he would be in there solo, not with Smurf, as opposed to him or Smurf, I should have said. I think that it would be a great move for them. Or whoever they bring in, we don't know, but I'm just saying that I like that. I would like that for them. I think that guy would fit perfectly in there. But Seoul is looking really, really stout right now. I've liked what they've done. One thing I just kind of glanced glossed over it was the Toronto Defiant made a big signing and signed Twilight. I think this is huge for them. Now, I've said, why are you doing the 4th release in 3 years of the existence of your franchise? Well, they must have a plan. I think they're doing the kind of what Houston did last year. It's time to win. Let's do this the right way. Yeah, last year's roster was good, but it wasn't good enough. It was mid-table gatekeeping at its finest. Couldn't beat anyone above 10 necessarily. Couldn't beat anyone below 10. Or couldn't lose to anyone below the 10 slots. I like the Twilight signing because lest we forget, guys, he's one of the great flex supports of all time. I mean, him and Violet were insane. But just if you go back to when he was on Vancouver, he was fantastic. He was, I believe he was a candidate for MVP. So you have him and you have Hisu, good building blocks. You can notice the trend here, guys. Flex supports and DPS are going fast. Well, actually, the high level guys. Tanks also, but tank is up in the air because you don't know what's going to happen. But you didn't know damn well you got to have a good flex support, and you have to have high-powered DPS, especially if we're running in this thing. From watching the VODs of Overwatch 2, you're going to need guys that can pop the fuck off. You're not mitigating 9 million shields and all that stuff. You're going to need good Sombras, good Tracers, good hit scan guys, good Genjis, potentially. And guys that can pick up new heroes, because if there's like 5-6 new heroes, as a lot of the internet would lead you to believe, you're going to need guys that can pick up stuff quick. And Twilight, I think, can do that. Also, Hisu is very versatile, and you get some more pieces in this puzzle. I think Toronto could at least get above that lower mid-table feel. They're going to have the feel of a team that should be contesting for tournaments and however they're running the league next year, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was a big signing. I didn't really talk about it too much, but I wanted to talk about releases more because we had more of that going on. It was big, and it's a godsend if you're a Toronto fan to see that they're doing stuff like this. Now, if they blew their whole wad on him as far as cash goes, that's going to be concerning. Like if they have Twilight and they get a bunch of B-level guys or a bunch of unknowns, you could be in trouble, but I don't think that's the case right now. I think they're going all in for Overwatch 2. Last team I want to talk about, we had a couple of moves here and there with this team, and that is going to be the Washington Justice. Now, they released Bebe and Jerry since we last talked, but they signed Happy. I like this a lot. I like all of these moves. I don't know how to put it other than these moves these teams are making. I'm going, yep, that's great. Good on you for that. I love this move. Not going, I don't know about this dude, but these signings are good. Now, the one thing I will say about Happy joining this core, he's a great hit scan player and all that. He's streaky, and the only thing is you get that with Decay and Assassin as well. I like it. I think Happy, his long-range hit scan stuff, and some of his other hit scans, his Ash, his other things, Hanzo, he's really good on. If you put him in there with Decay, I think you're going to have a lot of wins, or win potential, at least, from the optics of Overwatch 1 and seeing how this guy played there. DPS are going to translate, like I've been saying. I think DPS translates in a different, more pop-off kind of way, and you want guys like Happy. But there are points where he has dips with Guangzhou and with Houston. But that being said, him and Decay or him and Assassin or however they're going to work the DPS line, whatever's meta, whatever's working, I think it's going to be fantastic. You had Mag and Fury coming back. They don't have any supports right now. Kind of justified that they got rid of both of them. Although Bebe played better than I expected him to. And I would have maybe given another run with that. But if you got somebody in the weeds that you're not talking about, that you're talking to, playing, there have been reports about Krillin. I don't know about that. I think that's a sideways move. Unless Bebe didn't fit on the team or something like that. Or they saw some good things from Krillin outside of what happened on London, which that was kind of a shit show. He was one of the better performers on that team, really, if you think about it. If you go back, I mean, not that you want to go back and watch London VODs from fucking 2020, because yikes. But that's just a rumor right now. I haven't seen anything else as far as we know, although this just in, while we're here, they've renamed McCree. His name is now Cole Cassidy. All right, that's got a cowboy feel. I'll give him that. All right, here's what it says about McCree. We'll do this really quick because, it does make a lot. So what are we calling him? Cole Cassidy? Cowboy? Cowboy Cole Cassidy? Okay, he sounds like some fucking Hollywood guy named their kid. They like those cowboyish names, Dakota and things like that. So, whatever. The first thing a renegade loses is their name, and this one gave up his long ago. Running from his past meant running from himself, and each passing year only widened the divide between who he had been and what he had become. But in every cowboy's life, there comes a time where he has to stop and make a stand. To make this new Overwatch better, to make things right, he had to be honest with himself, with his team and himself. The cowboy he was rode into the sunset, and Cole Cassidy faced the world at dawn. Okay, so we got that. Obviously, Matt Mercer's still going to voice him. So, that was some breaking news, guys, in the middle of this little thing that we're doing right now. So, that was cool. So, we got McCree's new name, bunch of new guys on new teams. Everything's new and shiny and looking good. We got Cole Cassidy, High Noonan. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'm sure if I stayed on Twitter another couple minutes, something else would happen, but I'm not going to do that. We'll save that. We'll do another episode early in the week, get some more signings in, maybe the Mayhem and a couple of these other teams. We haven't heard anything from Vancouver. We haven't heard anything from Paris. A couple of teams have been quiet. We've heard things from the Mayhem. We got one signing there. We'll see what goes on. Dallas seems to have a full roster. A lot of things happen this week. Seoul's going for a super team. I don't know if LeBron plays Overwatch, but he's like the last signing I think they can get. Kyrie Irving, maybe? Is he available? Who knows? Obviously, they took a step from the Lakers and decided this is the way we're going. Hopefully, it doesn't turn out like that Lakers team that had Karl Malone on it. Oh, actually, that one won a championship, so never mind. Anyway, well, they're kind of the Lakers of the league anyway. Lakers, Yankees, they got that vibe. They got that, even though they haven't won anything, they got that swag because they're Seoul, and a lot of the players are from there, and that's like they got the cool logo, the black and the gold and all that stuff. So, yeah, we'll go with that. They've been more like the Cowboys in the NFL, but extremely average, even with high-level players. But anyway, enough trying to equate Seoul to regular sports, but that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. All you guys out there who've been supporting me for the last however long, if it was a week or the last 4 years, thank you very much. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. Please hit a like, hit a subscribe, do all that YouTube jazz for me. That would be fantastic. This is Misfit. I'm out. Everybody stay safe. Have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you on the next one.